But first, we're taking a little bit of a trip back in time here on Island Morning. It is a history project with a couple of interesting twists. More than 35 volunteers are making their way through 150 years of the Summerside Journal-Pioneer newspaper, but they're not searching the microfilm for news stories. These amateur researchers are looking for interesting advertisements from back in the day. The project will help celebrate the 150th anniversary of the Island paper and will produce a kind of social history of the town of Summerside, now the city of Summerside. Island Morning's Nancy Russell dropped into the McNaught History Center and Archives in Summerside to find out more.
So you take the film out of the box, and the film is just a series of miniaturized photographs.
Jean McKay carefully loads a microfilm on one of the viewers here at the McNaught History Center and Archives. Behind her are metal cabinets filled with microfilms of the island's newspapers from the last 2 centuries, including the Summerside Journal and the Journal-Pioneer.
Moving here, and then the volunteers are starting at the beginning of a reel, and they're going through page by page, and they're looking for interesting advertisements. And then we have a special form that they're filling out, so they indicate where they found the ad, the date of the paper, the page, and what the ad is. Sybil's Fluid Beef, Boneless Fish at B. Murphy's. This is 1894. And then later, I take the same film to a machine upstairs that's a reader, printer, scanner, and then I capture the image digitally, and then later we can use it as in the digital form or print it.
Fred Horn. I'm the archivist and collections coordinator with Culture Summerside. There will be a social history that'll come out of it at the end with a publication that'll be freely available to folks. We have funding from the Canadian Heritage Department with their anniversaries fund. We had a perfect anniversary to celebrate the 150th of the Journal-Pioneer.
We have 3 microfilm readers, and sometimes we have all 3 in use, which is great. Well, we started with the Summerside Journal, 1865, and we worked our way through to 1951, and then we went directly from the Summerside Journal to the Journal-Pioneer. We decided that we wouldn't include the early issues of the Pioneer, which started in 1876, because it's the anniversary of the Summerside Journal.
It's wonderful to see the volunteers come in. It's a social experience for them, as it turns out. It's not just a loner on a microfilm machine making notes. It's way more than that. And it's also getting people into the archives who, I can't believe that people would be intimidated by an archives or archivists, but some people are, and they don't realize that these resources are here for everyone. And to come in and read the newspapers from the past is a wonderful exercise.
Researchers who've come in over the years, they're often distracted by the ads when they're doing their research. So we thought, well, what a fun project this would be, just to be looking at the ads only. And sometimes people are distracted by headlines and they might read the little article. So it's kind of a reverse of the usual type of research. A lot of these now we're into the era where they are illustrating the ads. The early ads are not as interesting.
Oh, really?
Well, not up to the 1900s, because they didn't use many graphics in the ad. It would be principally text. So the people who've been looking in the teens, in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, are probably the most satisfied with what they're finding as far as quirky images or things that are more historic. We don't have as many volunteers wanting to do the 80s and 90s. So we're hoping that maybe more students might come forward. We do have 2 students, because to them the 90s is history. These are some of the early ones. Drake's Beverages, ginger ale, sarsaparilla, champagne cider.
And are they recording every single ad?
Oh, no. We ask them to be very selective, take ads that are of good quality, ads that might feature a local business, just ads that are interesting, either in their topic or just in the way that the ad was designed. And then we will be having a committee to come together and decide which ads would best suit our purposes, which is to represent the social history of Summerside through those 150 years.
My name is Eddie Schwartz. My wife and I, we just moved into Summerside in September, so that's about 7 months ago. And just to know a little bit of a history of Summerside, it was an advantage for me to go through the microfilm. Also, it's an opportunity to meet other people, other volunteers. It's interesting to read the old newspapers and how stories were approached. A couple of days ago, I went through the 1963 and I found the front page of Kennedy's assassination. Once in a while, after a few hours, you do want to pause away from the ads and read a story.
Do you have a favorite ad that you found?
No, they're all great.
Fred Horn says many volunteers are initially surprised to be working with the newspapers on microfilm.
Many people who are our volunteers, they haven't used it since university years. It still exists. It may be a threatened species, though, in the sense that there's so much digital these days. And so it will become increasingly difficult to find the parts and maintenance and all that sort of thing for the microfilm.
So this was sort of the beginning of the car ads in the 1920s. There's Island Motors on Summer Street. There's a whole selection of the Ford cars and trucks and tractors in 1924. We don't have quite as many volunteers as we like, and we're actually still taking volunteers, but we do have over 30.
I hope that they'll take away a real appreciation for the newspaper over those 150 years and the role that it played in the community. And of course, in doing that, they'll know a great deal more about Summerside history. So we hope they'll be coming back long after, and I think some of them will be, long after the project is finished.
For Island Morning, I'm Nancy Russell in Summerside.
There.
And our thanks to Nancy. And we've also posted a video of Jean McKay demonstrating how they're using the microfilm at the McNaught History Center and Archives. And you can find that on our Facebook page, CBC Prince Edward Island.